Hello, welcome to lesson 4. Today we're going to work on informal emails. And as usual, we're going to see the format, register, and useful expressions to write a very good informal email. So let's start by looking at the format. This is your time to read the instructions. I'm going to suggest that you stop the video here and read the exam task. Now that you have read, let's look at the format. How are we going to organize this informal email? Because it is an email, we have an opening, closing remarks, and finally a signature or your name. In between, we can write different paragraphs. I suggest that all the information that we need to answer, especially in emails like the ones we have just seen, where you have different questions, that you use different paragraphs to answer each of the questions, unless they are very, very connected. So in this case, in paragraph 1, I'm going to greet and mention the party. In paragraph 2, I'm going to say it was a fancy dress party with a theme, the Marvel Universe. Then in paragraph 3, I'm going to speak about the decoration, how it looked like a superhero base. And in number 4, I'm going to say we invited friends from university and family. All these are the answers to the questions in the exam paper. I just organized based on what they asked me to do. Finally, closing remarks and my name to sign. So here we have the format on the left and a sample on the right. So please pause the video, take a second and read the sample answer. Good, let's change to aspect number 2, which is our register. Which characteristics does an informal email have? First of all, it has informal vocabulary and expressions. It's completely different from what we saw in previous videos. The linkers will be informal. We are going to use contractions. The tone will be friendly, familiar, sentences will be shorter, and remember that we use first names because we are writing informally. This is to a friend, to somebody in our family, so we need to write just the first names. Let's check if our sample answer has all these elements. So in red, we have informal vocabulary and expressions such as nice to hear from you, hope you're all doing well, you know that, this and that, love, to finish, so it is informal, right? In blue, we have informal linkers. You will find and, so, very simple informal linkers in this email. In purple, you will find contractions, so when I need to use contractions, I use them. Then the tone is familiar. Look at the fact that I say that I took ideas from Pinterest, that it was so much fun. Sentences are shorter. Look at so much fun. It looked amazing. We don't need to write very long sentences. And finally, we have first names. Hi, Karen. Love, Sally. Just the first names because this is an informal piece. What about expressions? There are many expressions that you can use in your informal email, and I would like to give them to you today. When you start with the opening, you start your email, you start with thanks for your email, great to hear from you, glad to hear from you. It's not necessary to say I'm glad or it's great because we're making it informal. So I can say, hope you and your family are doing well. It's not necessary to say I hope. I'm cutting that out to make it more informal. I'm sorry I haven't written for a long time. I'm happy to read this, or I'm sorry to read that. And it's ages since I've heard from you. So all these are good expressions to start your email. If you have to give news, you can introduce them with something like this. I thought you might be interested to hear that, or you'll never believe what happened. Did I tell you about? I have great news. Or by the way, have you heard that? Well, these are great introductory expressions and they are informal. Apologies. In case you need to apologize for something, here you have some good expressions. I'm sorry for doing this or that. You can directly say sorry for being late at the party, or I'm afraid I can't go to your party because I'm busy. I'm really sorry that I forgot your birthday. All these expressions are very good and informal as well. If you need to invite your friend or your family member, you can use these expressions. Would you like to do this? Or I'm having a party and I hope you'll be able to come. I was wondering if you would like to go out. So depending on the context, you will be choosing one or the other. Remember to use your common sense. This is very, very important. Then you can also respond. If somebody has invited you, then you can respond by saying, thank you for your invitation, I'd love to go, or thanks for the invitation, but I'm afraid I can't make it. So make sure that you write with good expressions and informal expressions as well. Sometimes you may have to ask someone for a favor. In this case, when you request, you can use some of the expressions on the screen. I'm writing to ask you for help. I was wondering if you could help me. I hope you don't mind me asking, but can you help me with this and that? I would be terribly grateful if you could help me. All these are good informal expressions to request. Many times you will be expressing gratitude. So here you have 3 expressions that you can use. I really want to thank you. It was so kind of you. I really appreciate it. So all these expressions you can use, and they are really familiar and warm for an informal email. Maybe you have to congratulate your friend on something. Remember, every time you congratulate someone, it's on. Congratulations on your engagement, on this and that. Very good. Sometimes you will be giving encouragement to your friend. You can use these expressions like, hope your project goes well, all the best, wishing you the very best, or don't worry, you will pass your driving test. So be encouraging. Remember, a positive tone is always very important as you write, especially if you're writing in an exam. Sometimes you will have to give ideas, suggestions, or advice. I think you know the expressions, but anyway, let's remember them. Why don't you? You can't miss it. Remember to do this. I'm sure you will enjoy this and that. And then if you use how about, remember to follow with ing. How about meeting at the airport, for example? As you finish your email, remember you can say that you have to go, you can say it's time to go back to work, you can send your love to the family, or you can just hope to see this person soon. So here you have a list of good expressions that you can use to finish your email. Of course, there will be closing remarks before you write your name. And all these are followed with a comma. You can choose the one that best suits the context. Remember to use your common sense. And here you have a list. There are others as well, but remember to finish them with a comma. Afterwards, you will be writing your first name. It's time to practice. So here we have 2 different tasks. Task number 1 is an English-speaking friend of yours is coming to your country next summer. So invite him to stay at your place with you. Tell him about the places he should visit and the clothes he should wear. As you write, remember you write with a FCE system. Plan, write the format, think of each paragraph. Later on, as you produce, remember the register, the expressions, remember to be informal in this case, and then you polish. Once you finish, you read it again, you revise, you check the punctuation, you check the verb tenses, the grammar, the vocabulary, and the repetitions especially. Task number 2 is very similar, but in this case, you have received this email from a friend. You have a couple of questions that your friend asks you, and you have to answer. Both tasks involve 140 to 190 words. So now it's your time to work. Our class recap is this. Today we've seen informal emails, and we've seen that the format consists of an opening, closing remarks, finishing with your name, and in between a number of paragraphs depending on the ideas that you want to develop. The register is informal with all the characteristics of informal writing. Then we've seen lots of expressions for your opening, the expressions for your closing, expressions for invitations, gratitude, apologies, wishing, suggestions, and so on.
Espero que esta clase te haya servido y no olvides suscribirte y pinchar la campanita. Recuerda que si quieres aprender inglés conmigo, puedes unirte a Academia Pro, que incluye cursos completos como este, masterclasses, ejercicios, material en PDF, corrección de writings y además clases en vivo semanales conmigo para los niveles A1 hasta B2 por 17 euros mensuales. Es decir, con estos 17 euros tienes acceso a todo: cursos pregrabados, clases en vivo por nivel semanalmente conmigo y corrección de writings de manera personalizada. También podrás escribirme tus dudas y preguntas a mi mail o en la plataforma. Y si te vienes, me las preguntas directamente en las clases en vivo. Cada clase tiene su PDF que te puedes descargar o ejercicios para que puedas practicar lo aprendido. Podrás encontrar todo lo que necesitas para aprender inglés. Si te quieres informar, tienes aquí debajo en la descripción del vídeo el enlace. Y no olvides de seguirme en Instagram, donde todas las semanas doy tips y recursos para mejorar tu inglés. Mientras tanto, sigue disfrutando de estos materiales gratuitos que iré subiendo en YouTube. Bye for now!